Welcome to live sessions presented by HDFC Life in partnership with ET Now. In today's world, technology isn't just an enabler. It's the backbone of how industries operate, adapt, and deliver value. The life insurance sector, traditionally seen as paper-heavy and process-driven, has undergone a remarkable transformation in recent years, evolving into a digital-first, customer-centric ecosystem. From AI-powered customer experiences to cloud-based operational agility, technology is reshaping how insurers connect with customers, empower employees, and collaborate with partners. Today, we are bringing together two leaders at the forefront of this change, Ms. Sonali Kulkarni, Country Head, BFSI Microsoft India and South Asia, and Mr. Rohit Kilam, Chief Technology Officer from HDFC Life, to explore how innovation, collaboration, and a tech-first mindset are building the future of life insurance. Sonali, Rohit, thank you for taking the time out and joining us in the studio for this session. I'd like to start off with Rohit. HDFC Life is often cited as one of the most forward-thinking insurers in terms of technology adoption. Could you walk us through how this mindset has helped you navigate this digital transformation journey?
The question is not around the mindset. The question is how technology is actually changing business models, right? And in this era of post-Gen AI, agentic world, I think what we are looking at is how technology can actually make newer business models, and that could translate into better customer experience, newer customers, better risk underwriting, and as well as more enablement for my staff who goes down to the customer and touches them. So it is the way we look at technology, right, from a business model standpoint. And to digitally enable the entire organization, we've kind of looked at 4 or 5 key layers of technology, right? Data being the most important fundamental layer, which is the building block of it, one. Post that, we have the layers around how we get to the customer, right? And that is what we are building onto. Then there is whole work around happening, which is around underwriting and the risk and fraud models, right, around on this. And finally, how do we service the customer? How do we address his claims, right? The test of an insurer is to stand by the customer at the time of the need. And at that time of the need is when the claims comes in. How do you address his claims? How sensitively you address his claims? How you are addressing his servicing needs on a yearly, annually, or periodic basis. So that's what we are building onto from a digital standpoint.
So going back in your journey, could you let us know about some key decisions or investments that really set the foundation for this transformation journey?
Yeah, so if we look at our transformation journey, it's divided into 3 broad milestones per se, right? We started with an exercise of understanding the digital landscape, the art of possible, and then looking at inside in terms of what we are and what we need to get to there. So we built the entire roadmap on top of it. It was a longish exercise, right? Once we did that, we looked at a classic technology model of this. That means, how do we go about doing this? So we decided what, and then was how. How do we go about doing this? We looking at various partners that would help us in this journey to reach to the to-be point that we were looking at. And this was something that we envisaged by working with Microsoft, working with other players, other technology players, and looking at create that balance between build versus buy as well on top of that. So that's the second part of it. And the third part of it, an extremely important part of it, is around business value realization and change adoption. That is the critical part of it, and that's what we are on it when we implement it.
So that's a powerful perspective on how intent and investment go hand in hand. And speaking of partners, Sonali, Microsoft is very well known for enabling transformation across the BFSI sector, and that's globally. Could you sort of tell us from your vantage point, how has technology fundamentally reshaped the BFSI sector? And if you could give us some examples that are more particular to India, wherein that has really borne fruit, that'd be wonderful.
If I take a step back a bit and look at the last 10 years or so, right, I think there have been two, I would say, major shifts which have impacted the industry, BFSI industry, but also our daily lives, right? I think one is fundamentally the way the way the price of data has come down dramatically over the last 10 years. I mean, to the extent that now we are the world's largest data consumption country, all over, right? The second, I would say, very importantly, is in terms of the way smartphones have risen, right? And maybe 10 years back it was around 16-17% penetration, and today we have 1 billion subscribers, right? So almost universal access to smartphones. I think those two brought about a fundamental change in which how consumers were adopting technology or adopting digital. Coupled with that, if you look at again in the last 10 years, the way India has invested in digital public infrastructure, the Aadhaar stack or India stack as we look at it, right? That brought about huge changes in the whole BFSI sector, including insurance.
Transformational journeys are often rife with big wins as well as significant challenges. So Rohit, could you take us through some of the key milestones in HDFC Life's journey and moments that really defined its progress, as well as some of the hurdles that you faced along the way?
So from our standpoint, we've looked at, we've gone through a steep curve of learning. That's how we would like to put it. The steep curve of learning is specifically because we had to look at our existing set of applications, the legacy set of applications, and how do we maneuver around that, right, with the constraints that we got from there. The second part of it was around data, right? As the organization grows, the data spawns and multiplies, and there are multiple sources of data. So getting all the data at one place in the format with a single source of truth, that becomes the second challenge. The third is specifically if you're looking at change adoption, right? How do we adopt the change? Fourth, which is extremely important, is how to be flexible and nimble in the execution itself, right? You have to be flexible enough in your execution plans to look at, what is the best way to navigate through the challenges which are coming on to.
So how did you address challenges that came along the way when you were integrating legacy systems, like you mentioned? And then when you're integrating legacy systems, there's also the fact of ensuring data security. At the same time, when you bring about a lot of change, you need to sort of re-win customer trust at that point. So were there any challenges along this aspect as well?
So the whole purpose of this transformation was that we should not affect our stakeholders in the process of building this entire platform. So it should be a smooth exercise for them, right? They should only see the new version, right? They should not see what's going under the hood, right? So that's how it is, and we have been trying to do that over a period of time to make the transition in a manner which is very smooth.
Awesome. So the human side of transformation is just as crucial as the tech stack. And coming back to you, Sonali, AI and automation are no longer just buzzwords. They are reshaping the ways in which companies interact with customers and also optimize processes internally. From Microsoft's perspectives, how are these technologies being leveraged to improve customer experience and also operational efficiency in the ways that insurance companies function?
Technology, it has to make lives easier and better, and it has to drive business value and give value back to the users. And I think we've now reached that stage, as I said, from promise to proof to profitability, for AI. Particularly if I look at the insurance sector, I think we've seen AI interventions across the value chain. If I look at the top of the funnel from a origination perspective, for example, right, leveraging power of AI, how do you create better prospect ID? How do you acquire customers digitally much better? If I then look at from a distribution perspective, and insurance and especially life insurance, distribution is very, very crucial, right? We are a large country. and last mile distribution is still very, very important, right? So really, how do we enable the distributors, whether it's agency channel, whether it's your banker channel, to really sell better and sell more efficiently? So for example, we are now working with one of the insurers where you have a real-time, I would say, agent assist or a real-time bot, which gives, intelligence to the distributors, to the sales, team, so that they can actually, hyper-personalize their sales offer and what is the kind of product that they're going to recommend or showcase to the customer, in a much better way and almost on tap for them now. So that's, I would say, from a distribution, perspective. If I look at from an underwriting perspective, again, I think AI has enabled, more sophisticated profiling of customers, as well as, made underwriting process much more, I would say, efficient in cutting down the time to market. If I then look at claims management, again there we are seeing fraud detection, anomaly detection much better to enable faster claims processing and more straight through claims processing as well. And last, I would say, more from a servicing perspective, managing the persistency, which is a big focus area for life insurance, enabling the entire service transformation using AI, whether it is how do you make sure that the emails are faster responded through an email response bot, for example, right? Or the entire contact center space where we are working with a few insurers to make sure that contact centers are also AI enabled, and which improves your customer service as well as reduces the time as well.
That's a well-rounded perspective on how AI and automation is helping banks and insurers not only reduce turnaround times, enhance personalization, and even speed up processing claims. That brings us to the culture behind the transformation. Rohit, could you sort of take us through how digital transformation isn't just about systems and processes and platforms, it's also about the people. And how does HDFC Life foster a culture internally wherein employees are not only accepting change and new technologies, but are actively embracing it?
Across the organization, we do programs in which we specifically train senior leaders across on AI as well as core technology concepts as well. So they are pretty aware about things like how does an API function or what an AI can at least do, right? So they can envisage what needs to be done and how it can be done using technology. That's the first part of it. That's more around creating awareness. The second part of it is around creating the bandwidth for doing such. And the organization has significantly invested to build that bandwidth in the technology team, in the data team, across the organization that we are looking at. We are building our own internal capability centers to be able to build this kind of a technology going forward. The third part of it is around experimentation, which is very important for the culture. We have a specific program which we run, which is called Futurance, in which we look at hackathons. We get the problems from the business users, and we would run these hackathons and then present that as POCs across the organization. That is the third part of it. And the last part of it is around continuous training and learning, which is also very, very important. And this happens by giving that level of freedom to technology teams across to build something what they would like to, right? And at the same time having a fair margin of error built into it, because all your projects don't succeed. Yeah, that's very important for all of us.
So that was a nice look at the initiatives, training programs, and some of the success stories that HDFC Life has had with incorporating your tech. Now, coming back to Sonali, we've sort of explored the present and the past. Now we are peering into the future. Could you sort of let us know what kind of emerging technologies, from your perspective, do you believe will shape the future of life insurance industry over the next 5 to 10 years? And do you see areas such as generative AI, blockchain, or IoT really having a tangible and meaningful impact in the way life insurers function?
I think, look, and we spoke a bit about the last decade or so, right? And I think the next 10 years are going to be, even more exciting and transformative. And I think that the same three sort of, I would say, buckets of change is going to drive this. So one, from a regulatory perspective, IRDA is investing in, its mission for insurance for all, and really leveraging on, the India stack, and marrying that with what they are trying to look at from a Bima Trinity perspective, right? I think that's going to have a big change in the way, insurance will perhaps be sold, bought, consumed, by everyone. I think the second big change is going to be, and Rohit spoke a bit about technology adoption, right? I think as consumers are adopting AI even in their daily lives, are working with agents even in their daily lives. A lot of demand is also going to come from them to say, how can we consume insurance much faster and better? And I think the third, of course, is the technology as a driver, right? And I think in Microsoft, we look at the three main areas which we believe will drive a lot of change, at least in the next few years. One, I think the entire intelligence or intelligent agents space, right, which is agentic AI. And that's not just one agent working in isolation, but multiple agents working autonomously, but with human in the loop. I think that's going to fundamentally change the way business processes are run, and the way we even interact with technology on a day-to-day basis, right? I think the second is almost the evolution of continuous learning systems, right? Earlier, we were in an age where a lot of models had to be rewritten, for example, or ML models had to be redone. Whereas today, the change of pace of models that we are seeing, the change of pace of how technology and human beings are learning together and adapting, is something that we believe is going to really change the way the market is going ahead, right? And I think AI, therefore, will end up being almost the ultimate, I would say, amplifier, to the entire change.
Let us look at what the future beholds, and now let's talk about partnerships. Speaking of which, partnerships are key to accelerating transformation, and HDFC Life's collaboration with Microsoft is a strong example of that. Rohit, could you elaborate on how you have leveraged Microsoft's capabilities in delivering seamless digital-first solutions to your employees, to your distributors, and your customers?
So there are multiple examples in terms of how we are leveraging Microsoft technologies across the organization. That means I want to take my zero-touch processing to 90%. I want to do, for my customers, I should do a one-touch servicing-based thing to almost 90%, right? That's my North Star goal from my standpoint. How do we want to do this? And I think Microsoft is helping us do. There are multiple ways of doing this. So we are obviously implementing digital technologies along with this. We are creating an ecosystem with a lot of chatbots, with co-pilots, with looking at interesting dashboards. We're enabling the branch offices across India, right, with digital tools, so they are able to do this, and also having a seamless integration with the core systems at the background. Those are the pieces that we are currently working with. We obviously use the end user computing as well across Microsoft technologies, and I think it's important to note that we have been able to use bots within Teams itself, right? And we've been able to solve basic problems for people, at least to start with. So those are the pieces that we work extensively with Microsoft.
Awesome. Now let's flip the lens and explore the partnership from Microsoft's side. From your perspective, how do you engage with HDFC Life, not just as a technology vendor, but also as a strategic enabler for long-term goals? And looking forward, what are Microsoft's priorities for driving further innovation and digital transformation, not just in the insurance space, but broadly in the overall digital space?
I think I look at it in, I would say, two buckets. One, we are helping them by providing intelligence on tap. So through Microsoft 365 co-pilots as well as co-pilot chat, really providing intelligence on tap to all their employees and their entire workforce, right? Whether it is for, and some of the use cases Rohit spoke about, but really embedding Copilot into their daily lives, taking out some of the manual effort and making employees much more productive, as well as the overall employee experience much better. I think the second is also in terms of enabling AI for developers. So we've just started the developer productivity journey on GitHub Copilot. We've seen elsewhere almost 30 to 40% productivity uplift on code generation through GitHub Copilot, and this is a journey which we've just started, and we'll expand as we go as well. I think the third is we are also jointly investing and co-investing in a lot of learning and skilling areas for HDFC Life, whether it's from an AI fundamentals perspective, as well as looking at how do you consume digital technologies more responsibly. So that's one, I would say, bucket. The second bucket that Rohit did speak a bit about around customer service journeys transformation. How do you make it seamless? How do you make it almost straight through? And 90% is the target that he has put forth for the platform. And even so, we are using Microsoft D365 Dynamics platform for that. And even there, AI is at the core and central for it. So the co-pilots within the platform also will enable a lot of faster processing of service requests, more seamless experience to the consumers, as well as for the employees, much more empowered to take faster decisions. So that's our collaboration that we are looking at, and hopefully we have many more areas coming up.
This has been a fascinating conversation touching upon vision, execution, and what lies ahead. Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, Sonali, for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Life Sessions presented by HDFC Life in partnership with ET Now. Today's conversation made it clear technology is no longer an optional investment for the life insurance industry. It's the very foundation for trust, scale, and customer delight. From AI-driven personalization to seamless cloud-enabled operations, the collaboration between HDFC Life and Microsoft can show how innovation can be both strategic and deeply human in its impact. As the industry moves toward a digital-first future, partnerships like these will continue to redefine how protection is delivered, experienced, and valued. Stay tuned for more episodes of Live Sessions, where we bring you insights and conversations that inspire progress and protection in a rapidly changing world.